Hello and welcome to this After Effects certification preparation series of videos. I'm Luisa Winters. In this video, I want to cover Objective 4.2b, which is to adjust character settings. So we're going to talk about font, size, style, kerning, tracking, leading, horizontal and vertical scale, and other things. So let's get to it. In After Effects, let's go ahead and create a new composition. Control or Command N, don't worry about the name. And now let's just type something, right? So I'm going to use point text. No, in fact, I used point text before. I'm going to use paragraph text. And I'm going to have it left aligned. So that's under the paragraph here on the left. More on that in just a little bit. And I'm going to type first line, enter, second line. All right, so here we go. As soon as you start typing anything in After Effects, these two panels should open up, the character panel and the paragraph panel. All right, if you don't see them, you can either go to a text workspace, and we learned how to change workspaces in an earlier video, but just in case you didn't watch it, Window, Workspace, Text, or simply go to this menu here and go to text, and then they will appear. See character and paragraph. Or if you prefer not to do that, just go to Window, Text, Window, Paragraph. Okay? So paragraph and character. So window, character, window, paragraph. All right, so here we go. If we want to change the font, say I want to change this font and it's Times New Roman and I want Verdana. Nothing changes. Nothing changes at all. The reason for that is because things are not selected. And remember that in After Effects, you have to select stuff in order to be able to affect it. So I can select, say, only the word first. Okay. Now, if I go to Verdana, that changes. All right, so I can select all of the text and I can change it to, I don't know, Sitka, whatever, right? And then they all change. I can also double click the layer here and it selects all of the characters. It's very similar to what Photoshop does, right? I can also change the font style. So, I can go here, italic, right? And depending on the fonts that you have installed in your system, you're going to get different options, all right? I can change the size, see it? I much prefer scrubbing it. Scrubbing numbers is when you put the mouse cursor on top of the number, it changes into a pointy finger like yay, and then you can click and drag, and that dynamically changes that value if you drag left or right or even up and down. All right, so there you go. Font and font size. You can also change the style. You can change the color. It's like, oh, you know what, text, I want you to be green. Whatever, right? I want to add a stroke to the text. So I click on the stroke here. I can double click and I want you to have a red outline, right? And now I want for that outline to be like quite large. And that's quite horrendous. Woo, that's hurting my eyes. So I'm going to not have a stroke. And you see how it didn't affect anything? It's because I didn't select anything. I'm going to select the text and now no stroke. No stroke for you. And there you go. All right, so I can change, I can add strokes and all of that good stuff. All right. And in fact, even that green is hurting my eyes. So I'm just going to go back to white. All right, there you go. I can change font size. I can change leading. Leading is the distance in between the lines, It's called leading because in old printing terms, you used to use bars of lead to separate the lines even more. So don't call it leading. No leading, leading from lead, bars of lead. The higher the leading, the more distance in between the lines. Then we have kerning and tracking. And notice that kerning is not available. Well, kerning has to do with the distance in between two characters. And, honestly, this, I don't know if it's a blessing or a curse, but once you start looking at the kerning of things, you're just going to go, oh my God, they didn't fix that kerning. How could they? And you'll never look at text the same way again. So I'm just saying. This is why this is important. All right, so let's say I want to write the word time. And I'm going to have the letter T be very large. Right? I'm going to move this here more in the middle so we can see it. I assure you that even though you think that says time, that doesn't say time at all. That says time. Time. Because there's way too much distance in between the T and the I. So I would have to actually use kerning to bring these guys together. That says time. So it is important to adjust kerning to increase readability. So typography, everybody thinks that typography is the art of making text cool and blah, blah, blah. It isn't. Typography is the art of making text easy to read, which makes all of these things that we're talking about, from leading, kerning, tracking, all of those things super important because they help with the readability of the text. So don't forget that. Kerning, distance in between two characters. Tracking, distance between all the characters. See it? All of them. Tight, loose. All right? Now we can continue going with, see, vertical scale, horizontal scale. Woo-hoo-hoo. Then we have the baseline shift, right? Well, I can just do this, even this, right? I like this better. And now I can change that, kerning even more. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. So you can have a lot of flexibility when you type these characters to really make them look the way that you need for them to look so that you can communicate your message better. All right, so there's a couple of other things in here. And this, the tsumi, it has to do with the distance in between the characters. It's just measuring them a little bit differently, you know. That goes beyond the test, so I'm going to skip it for now. But look at these faux characters. So you have the faux bold, the faux italic, and in fact, let me just go ahead and select the entire thing. Right, the all caps, the small caps, superscript, subscript. All right, and this is for the selected characters, right? So I can select like those two, and I can say, okay, subscript, and now that says time even more, right? There you go. So all of these things are kind of important. And this brings us to the end of this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.